Hey, today I'm going to show you how to add a six-figure client vending machine onto your business in the next 30 days or sooner. So this video is really for the six-figure coach, consultant, creator, expert looking to get 4 to 5 figure clients every single day without phone calls, without sales calls. And so if you're stuck at that 10 to 20K per month mark, you're doing all the right things, you're getting a lot of referrals, but you have inconsistent leads coming in from your organic efforts, or you can't seem to scale paid ads, then this is for you to create a whole system, basically turning your sales and marketing into a vending machine that if I put this amount of effort or this amount of money in, I'm going to get these amount of clients and revenue right back. So here's a few examples of what I've done recently with this. Just so you know, I'm not some random guy talking out of his butt. We have Paul and Helen who use this on LinkedIn, and they closed over 100,000 pounds of their high ticket course sale. And so that's not a lot of weight. It's because they're in the UK and they use British pounds. So when we launched, they did about 20,000 pounds with the whole VSL chat script, this client vending machine. Since he actually updated me and he commented on one of my LinkedIn posts that the same system didn't do a single sales call, did over 100,000 pounds in new sales. So all with this chat system, which is amazing. We have Matt Gray, and we actually started off a little bit different, doing a low ticket offer with him. So we only did $12,600 with a $150 product, selling about 83 units. You can check my math there. And this was in our first 2 weeks launching, so that was really exciting. And then there's Jay Shetty, who over the last 4 months, got November, December, January, February, late 2022, early 23, where we added an additional $500,000 of new sales revenues, not including rebuilds, just on that top line here. And this is just a few of the clients that I partnered with to create these client vending machines for, and help them sell high ticket offers, getting new clients, building their lists, growing their business. No phone calls, no going viral on social media, no hiring, training, managing a huge team of VAs or, you know, agents, salespeople. It's a totally independent, bolt-on source of revenue. It doesn't interfere with their promo calendars. The whole point is to give them that consistent revenue without eating up their time. Basically, scaling the face of the brand so that you don't have to spend hours and hours each week on marketing and sales. That's all done for you so you can keep growing. And so here's an example. Like Jay, during those few months where he brought in $500,000 with his client vending machine, he went on tour to promote his new book. So a lot of travel, really intensive being on stage, didn't have a lot of time. So he couldn't have written content and pushed it out and been on sales calls and done all this thing. But regardless of that, he still added $500,000. And Matt, over those 2 weeks, he was traveling. He went to Colombia, around in Mexico. He's actually sick for a little bit, but he had the time to rest up, recover, heal, and still make $12,000 plus. Helen and Paul aren't traveling the world, which is totally fine too. Helen got married recently. Paul has 3 kids, and just having that consistent revenue coming in, knowing okay, because of these systems, we can expect X amount of revenue for the month. It's so freeing, and it allows you, whether you want to double down on your business and continue growing aggressively, or whether you want to just have more free time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Either way, it's totally fine, and it's possible with these client funnels. That's why I'm so excited about them. They work really, really well. And I've also installed these for clients like Les Brown, Jordan Belfort, Kelsey Heenan, Sean Roden, Sam Bakhtiar, Jason Capital, just a whole bunch of these 8-figure education brands. And doing this since, July 2018, we've had over 30 million chats across 7 different niches. And we haven't really found anything that out converted it yet. I'm going to show you through these steps and even talk about why we came up and why this works so well. But first, there's a few people that this won't be the best fit for. Because if I could wave a magic wand and just solve all your sales and marketing problems, I would be charging a lot more money. But it's not that simple. So this works with validated offers, meaning you have three solid testimonials uh, at least, or this really isn't for you. You need to have your fulfillment dialed in. So again, because it's a client vending machine, you could turn it on, you could turn it off. If you don't have that evergreen offer, if you're just looking to fill a mastermind or a live event or whatever, it still works, and you can still have the machinery in place to turn on and off whenever you like. But if your fulfillment isn't ready to scale, we've had clients that had to shut down just because they couldn't handle it. Um, if you want to grow and manage a sales team or take calls yourself, this won't be a fit for you either. Just because this is a phoneless system. So the whole point is translating this into chat to scale yourself and essentially take yourself out of that sales and marketing process so you could focus on higher leveraged activities. But otherwise, if you have an audience on LinkedIn, email, we've used this on TikTok. We were making about 20K, 200K per month with Jason Capital on TikTok. We use this on Facebook, on Instagram. And if those audiences are kind of collecting dust, like you're growing the audience, you don't really know how to monetize it, sending traffic to webinars, masterclasses, funnel pages, other things doesn't seem to be converting very well, or you're just tired of being on calls, really pulling teeth to convince people to get into your, high ticket program, whether it's $1,000, $2,000, $15,000, and you're trying to bribe people to get them onto the discovery calls, or offering hefty discounts, or just pulling everything out of your toolkit to try and make these sales, and it's frustrating. Like maybe you even have an inbox full of hot leads, but you just don't have the time or energy to follow up. Like that's, I was working on this with a client, and we got her 32 really targeted leads from paid ads, um, but it was just too much for her to follow up and to really work the leads. Like chat is a much more effective way of doing that. And yeah, you don't need to run launches every single quarter, or I've had clients run launches every single month before this. You don't have to wait once a year for Black Friday or any special deals to make up for it. Um, you don't even have to do any complicated webinar funnels. That's actually why we built this chat system, because we were replacing webinars that were a pain in the butt to orchestrate 3 times a week. And you're definitely not going to be posting into the void, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, any other social media, hoping that the algorithm kicks you more leads, hoping that people reach out to you. You're going to take the reins and actually make this work. So the bottom line is, cutting all that aside, if you're looking for something simple that works, that isn't super expensive in terms of your focus, your money, your energy, um, and that gives you some predictability into how much revenue and how many clients you're going to be adding to your business each and every week, then you need a client vending machine. So here's what's happening right now that makes this work so well. And just need to go back so that you understand this, right? Something really cool has been happening. 2017, 2018, social media was on the rise. TikTok came out, and the social media wars got into full swing. So now algorithms are fighting to get more people on the platform. YouTube added stories, added shorts. TikTok has been like running wild. Might even get banned in the U.S. Who knows? Instagram has been adding features, taking away features. Facebook is shifting to Meta. Like all of these things are happening because attention is more valuable now than ever before. Social media is where the eyeballs are. Social media is where all the action is. And this means more people are creating content than ever before. Now, some of them are really successful at it. I'd say it's almost like not 80-20, more like a 99 1% kind of principle, where 1% of these influencers are taking the lion's share of attention, even though it's easier than ever to go viral. And they have production teams, they have momentum, they have followers, and it's really tough to stand out from the noise when you're just getting started, especially if you're not necessarily creative first. If you're someone who has expertise, if you're someone who just loves what they do and talking and helping people, you may not necessarily have the skills to be a content creator. You gotta put the reps in to build that up and get that going, or just hire out. And people are paying six figures for production, hiring teams of editors, hiring creative directors. With Jason Capital when I was CRO, we were spending about like $50,000 a month on production. It's intense. So your clients are on social, but it's tough to reach them. On the other hand, all of this battling for attention has created really sophisticated customers. So what I mean by that is the market is really aware of the solutions, of the options, of the marketing going on. And so they don't necessarily just Google their problems anymore. They use ChatGPT. They search on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. Customers don't need to be sold as much today as they need help making a buying decision because there's just such a flood of everything. And here's what this causes. I call this leaky funnel syndrome, where if you're using sales tactics from 10, 20 years ago, running perfect webinars, running people to VSLs or text sales letters, that can work. It's just a lot harder because if you look at the economics, you're losing throughput. You're running traffic off of social media into the funnels of yesteryear, and using these same tricks will get you the same results, and they'll get worse over time. So that's why you may notice it's tough to scale, your CPA is starting to rise, or you feel like you're just kind of spinning a wheel stuck in social media because you have all these leaks and you can't figure out what to do. The solution is to meet the customers where they're at and get them to buy in chat specifically. And here's how we do it. So there's 5 parts. We have waving your flag to get you free traffic. We have panning for gold to qualify leads and get you in front of the hottest leads. We have your pocket-sized pitch, which could be as simple as a 1 to 5 page Google Doc that replaces the typical 45 to 60-minute phone call. And I've seen this work: memberships, low ticket, high ticket, up to 30K offers, just depending on what you're selling. Like, it works very well. Then we chat close and send a few simple texts to basically tuck them into bed and cover common sales objections. And step 5 is really making it recur, because it's not a vending machine if you have to constantly put in the work every single day to make this happen. We want to build systems around this so that leads and sales continue to come in like clockwork. And I may have a little visual here. So you wave your flag, you pan for gold, you send your pocket-sized pitch, and then you check close them. And that's pretty much it. And there's certain nuances to this. I have this little triangle of your expert, your offer, and your audience, which does create some nuance, not all cut and dry. But I'm going to show you exactly how to dial this in the best I can on this video. And by the way, I'm Zach. Nice to meet you. And I'm a former engineer turned marketing nerd when, in 2015, I started making my own nutrition products on ClickBank. And really, I didn't have the skills to succeed in business, but I fell in love with copy and the marketing and doubled down on that. And so after that, I spent 5 years working with Jason Capital as a CRO and helping him scale his list of business opportunity products. So there was a whole bunch of stuff in there: email list management, copy chief, high converting, like 5% plus funnels for cold traffic, directing partnerships with others in the space to help us grow. And not just email list management for Jason Capital, but also with Jason Wojo and a few other people. But adding a lot in revenue. I worked with Agora Financial's copy chief to create a bunch of funnels. I've had the privilege to work with people like the late Kevin Hutto, Alex Mosey, Taki Moore, Dean Jackson, to really build and manage a team of 52 plus chat agents responsible for $7.2 million in chat sales and counting. Uh, which, yeah, that's over 8 figures in chat sales closed for clients that I mentioned before. We've got Jay Shetty, Jordan Belfort, Les Brown, and many others. Um, and there's a few other things I can't share because of NDAs. But yeah, I'm a real guy getting real results. This is me and my dog Oreo and my girlfriend Sandy, and we're all living in Puerto Rico and hanging out. And if you like, you can follow me on LinkedIn. There's a link. Now let's get into it. Waving your flag for free traffic. Now, here's the biggest problem I see in marketing. Peter Drucker put it best, where he says that the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. So ideally, marketing should result in a customer who's ready to buy. Now, a lot of people rely on phones, webinars as their marketing tools of choice. So they'll talk to someone or run an ad and say, hey, check out this free masterclass and get people onto a webinar. And then on the webinar, they'll go through the whole, 3 secrets or here's who I am. Here, let me teach you a little bit, pivot to sell and try and make sales that way and get people on the phone, or just go direct into a poorly hidden sales call, calling it strategy session or discovery call, to take someone from just finding out about you on an ad or from your social media to buying and spending like a decent amount of money, $5,000 to $10,000. And that's really tough because there's a bunch of different dials you need to optimize before someone's going to buy. They need to know your product and they need to be sold that it's a solution for them. They need to know and trust you as a person. And if you're a personal brand, they need to trust you and your business, that you're an entity, that you're not going anywhere, that you're not going to take their money and move to Costa Rica or whatever. But for some reason, businesses are really stubborn and they rely on these tools that just don't really work that well. And of course, when everyone started using them and they were new, calling people on the phone, using webinars to sell these higher ticket coaching or service packages, it worked really well. But now it's fatigued a little bit. People are onto the tricks. And so if you're complaining about bad leads, if you're having trouble retaining or managing your sales team, if you're always on the hunt for more leads, more appointment, more traffic, the problem is that you need to solve the issue of leaky funnel syndrome because you can't scale your sales with this inefficient way of going on because your economics just won't back out. You'll continue to try to make more sales, but CPA will rise. The amount of salespeople you'll need to get the raw number of conversions, the raw number of revenue will continue to rise. It's going to take more money to get that traffic, to pay out the team, to get everything going. And it's just going to eat into your profits and it's going to eat, into your sanity too. And really what it comes down to is this idea of the red beads from Edward Demings. And so here's a picture of it. Basically, Edward Demings is similar to Peter Drucker. He's a great management consultant, big systems guy. And he went to a room full of students and said, hey, I have this little panel. And what I want you to do is dip into this jar of red and white beads. And I want you to get me all white beads. Now, the problem is it's impossible to do because the beads were mixed in and they couldn't, go in and pick them with tweezers or with their fingers. They just had to scoop it in and try and, finagle it to get it going. None of the students succeeded. They always had red beads. And this is the reason I share this is because for this example, let's say the white beads are qualified leads, motivated, ready to buy. The red beads are going to be tire kickers, looky-loos, just the rest of the people who aren't ready to buy right now. And you can't avoid those people after the fact. You can't avoid them downstream. You need to go upstream before you mix the red beads into this pile to avoid that. And so another way of looking at this to make it a little bit more concrete, is what if you had 20 people in a police lineup? Could you look at them and know who your best customer will be? The ones that'll pay a premium to work with you and stick with you for years, buying again and again and again? Probably not, unless you're you're a plastic surgeon or something like that, and you can just see people's faces. But even then, you don't know their psychographics if they're going to buy what they're going to do, but you can narrow it down. And this is what waving your flag does. Because when your leads know who you are, what you do, and why, they're much more comfortable reaching out to you when they're ready to buy. Because again, leads need help making that buying decision. And the first step is compelling them to reach out. And I added a document here called the Spear Sheet, and I'll walk us through that in right now, because this is the simplest way to go through it. And this is I guess a sneak peek of one of my courses. But SPEAR is direct response tool. It's an acronym I got from Dean Jackson for a short personal message expecting a reply. And really, the whole point of SPEARs is for you to compel people before you convince people. Because, like Seth Godin says this, marketing isn't about brute forcing people to go from A to Z. It's not about trapping them on a phone call, hard selling them, getting them on a webinar, and having them buy right then and there. It's about taking them step by step from A to B, B to C, C to D, and just making them a little bit more likely to buy as it goes on. And that's really all that sales is. It's just a series of agreements that lead to capturing someone's attention, holding that interest, channeling that desire, and then getting them to take action. Which, very simple, something that you probably have read or seen or heard if you've studied, marketing or sales for 5 minutes. But a lot of businesses rush through this and completely miss out. So, in order to make the sale and get to Z, we first need to see who's in the market. Another way of putting this is you wouldn't just walk up to a random man or woman or whatever you're into and just kiss her on the lips. You would start by talking to them. You want to see if they're single. You want to see if they're interested. You want to see if you're interested in them. On the same vein, you shouldn't just message people and ask if they're ready to buy. Call that just pitch slapping someone. So we just want to start conversations. And how we do it is using a bunch of spears. And so I have a few examples here. Again, these are just the ways to start, right? And I'll have a link to this in the video that you could actually message me down below, and I'll send you a link to the whole PDF that has links to everything I'm going over in this video. So there's just a few varieties of it, right? There's the follow-up spear, where these are leads that you were talking to, and you know that they were interested in the outcome, but they didn't buy from you. So you could just reach back out to them. And I do this every month because it works so well. Of just, hey, are you still interested in building a chat vending machine? Hey, are you still trying to figure out how to get consistent leads from social media? Do you need any new clients this month? These messages are great at starting that conversation. And so the next way is, if you're thinking about putting things together, you would focus on selling them to the goal. So again, for me, this would be, hey, are you looking to make more sales without phone calls? Hey, are you looking to take your offer to 100K per month? Even if are you looking for more clients? And then this is more direct of, hey, I'm putting together a group of people who want to convert more followers into clients from social media. Would you like to join us? It's all online. If your audience is a little bit smaller, these get a little bit fancy with the lead magnet. The idea is you take 10 minutes to create a lead magnet, and it's something small, simple, that is also really compelling. So it could be, hey, I broke down 3 chat conversations of people who said that they needed to wait. If you want to see that video so that you can start making more sales and do this and that through chat, just comment or DM me and I'll send it out to you. So that's a really simple example of a lead magnet. And that's something that I could film 5, 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be a whole epic sheet or labor of love. It could be something that's very simple, very compelling to, again, get it out to the market and get it going. So those are a few examples just to go over that and show you that. And you could cadence this in every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how fast your audience is growing. Because again, we want to make calls to actions. We want to get people the opportunity to work with you at a higher level to solve their problems. But we can't always be pitching every single day because we need to have that goodwill and that trust and that value built up as well. So the more audience growth you have, the more spears you can post. Um, and so for the longer term strategy, spears are very direct. They're great to use. I also like the idea of the content to action to use every single day, to use more long term. And the way I view this, right, the difference is going to be spears are more direct. Spears is in essence calls to actions. The content to actions are almost like if we took a sales letter and squished it down to the size of a post. And this is my little checklist. So people are scrolling, you want to get them to your DMs. You just need 4 pieces: hook, bait, story, push. And what this is, your hook is going to be your hot buttons. I'll talk about that a little bit below, but these are topics you discuss that cause your ideal client to tune in. So a huge one for us when I was, let's say, working with Jason Capital in the biz ops space, we were talking about crypto. We were talking about getting motivated. We were talking about all these different things. In the health and fitness space, a lot of what we were talking about were like injuries. A big trending thing in fitness is who's natural and who's not natural. Talking about celebrities, that's always a big hook. So you would start off with a hook just to get attention, just to get people to watch. Once they're literally hooked, you give the bait. And this is the easiest part for most people. This is just the meat of your post. And you could express it in a few different ways. You can do a demonstration, you can give a guide, you can give a list, you can do a Q&A. But the whole idea is that you're paying off whatever was talked about in the hook. So if the hook is, hey, is Chris Hemsworth natural or not? The bait is you answering that question. And then the story here ties into your product. So if you're saying, hey, is Chris Hemsworth natural or not? You could go and you could say, hey, he trains really hard. He does this stuff. He definitely needs that assistance. So he's probably on steroids. But you don't need to do steroids or train really hard. You could train 3 times a week and still get great results. And that's what I teach people to do in my amazing course. And then the call to action is just if you want to be the next one, my next case study, my next transformation, you want to get access to the course, you want to get abs by summer, whatever it may be, DM, reply back, whatever it is, reach out to get people going. And really the emphasis is going to be on the hook. So not all of these are weighted equally. The push, you could just keep using your spears, and once you find ones that work, stick with it. It's the control. That's going to be great. The story, your product, isn't really going to change either. It's going to tie into the bait. And the bait story components should be the easiest for you. And then the hook is really where most of the results lie. Because if people don't get past your hook, they will not see anything else. So you nail this, and that's going to be the key. A good way to find this out, and this is what I did for a client, where I looked at his recent posts. And you could do this whether it's Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. But you could see these plays, right? And so I wrote them down here, where this one got over 2,000, whereas everything else is, three, four, 500. So you can see by this, especially over time, as you continue this process, um, you know, what your workout crew is. There's no one size fits all. Uh, what should you eat before a workout? Which is interesting. Like that didn't pop off, but what should I eat after a workout did. Um, so that could be something you make more content about or you talk about and you use that as the hook. You describe it and then you tie it into the product or service that you have to get people to take action because you're self-selecting for the people that are consuming the content, consuming your bait, so that they are the people who are most interested in what you're talking about and they're most likely to be in the market. So you're getting the most qualified leads that you can. Just a few notes as you create these spears. Three things. So you want to sell Maui, not the TSA. You want to make your spears, and by that I mean make your spears specific and outcome focused. So everyone would love to go to Hawaii for a vacation, but no one wants to hear about heading to the airport 4 hours early at 3:30 in the morning, packing a suitcase, sitting cramped in coach next to Big Bertha as she's eating a breakfast burrito for the next 6 hours. Like no one wants to be stuck like that, and no one's gonna reply to your spears if you get bogged in the details like that. Um, you also want to be unique, so no one's gonna reach out if they don't know what's gonna make you different either. Um, and that's really straightforward. If you're a business coach and you're talking about, hey, message in if you want us to get you more leads, more profit, higher LTV, all that stuff, higher conversion rates. Um, that's really generic. How does that separate you from the dozens of other coaches that they're seeing? Because if you're selling something, especially if you're selling an outcome, other people are selling that same outcome. You do have competition for that attention, and so you really need to make it unique. And a good way of doing that is really just leaning into your story. It could be leaning into your story. It could be leaning into your testimonials, your results, the mechanism, how you get people results. And so those are all really, really strong pieces that are going to help you a lot. The third thing is adding scarcity, because scarcity and urgency are the two biggest levers to get people to take action now. Instead of starting with urgency, if you start with scarcity, it naturally builds urgency. So, really simple example of this is if I'm trying to get friends to go out to dinner together, and I could either say like, "Hey, I need to know within the next 5 minutes to make the reservation if you're gonna join us or not," and it sounds kind of pushy. It sounds kind of like nonsense because I don't need to wait 5 minutes to make a reservation. I can do it later. I can do it now. Like it sounds weird. It sounds forced. Uh, but if I say, hey, uh, we got a table for five at the restaurant. We have two spots left, and I'm waiting to hear back from Sam and Jess if they're gonna come, or if you want to take those spots, just let me know. That's a lot more casual. It's a lot more believable, and it's a lot more natural. And that's when urgency and scarcity are the strongest when they're natural. So yeah, and I have more examples in that Spear document, but here's how you could just do this in the next 10 minutes. So you can follow up with leads you talked to in the past 90 days with a Spear, test the water on a new offer a lead magnet to anyone who reaches out to you. When you're greeting new followers or subscribers, so people who connect with you, you could just send them a message and be like, hey, thanks for following me. Um, need any leads this month? Or hey, I put together this like new report for all of my new followers, subscribers, whatever it is. Do you want a copy of that? And it's really powerful. It starts the conversation, and then you could go from there and land a new client. You can also do this with people who engage on your recent posts. So maybe they don't message you directly from the chats, but maybe they do comment on the post. You can continue talking to them, warm them up, and turn them into a lead. So now what do you do once you have these leads? the idea here is to pan for gold. And so this is really important because you have leads, you have chats, but how do you know that they won't disappear or ghost you? Um, how do you know that they're not just wasting your time? Especially, you know, if you're trying to replace phone sales, there's a certain show rate that you're going to have. Not 100% of people who book a call may show up to that call. Um, or on the chat end, what if they just endlessly chat with you because they want to talk with you, they want to pick your brain, they don't necessarily want to buy from you? That's why you need to switch from selling to sorting. And here's the secret to this. When you sort, you're not relying on brute force to push everyone into a call, a webinar, a sales page, whatever conversion tool you're pushing them into. The idea is that you're keeping your powder dry. The whole audience who's talking to you, who you're sending these assets to, they're going to continue to see your webinar, your book a call link, your conversion, whatever it may be, even when they're not ready to buy. And so when the leads are ready to buy and they have a good chance of buying and they're looking at your stuff, they may be zoning out. They might skim your copy. They might not pay attention in the webinar because they may have seen parts of it already. They just may not be paying attention. And this causes your marketing to fatigue much, much, much faster. And the faster your marketing fatigues, the less reliable your client vending machine is. It's like cooking with dull knives. It's going to take longer. You're more at risk of cutting yourself. What you need is to keep your marketing material sharp, keep it fresh, and having that a little bit of friction in that set helps you differentiate the serious leads who you can just blow away with your product size pitch, which we'll talk about in a sec, and those who just aren't ready to buy, who can go on your email list, who you can continue nurturing, who you can continue working with later. Because frankly, 4 to 5 times more leads will buy with that nurturing, with that follow up. So here's how to do it. If you send a wall of text, if you try and do too much, it's going to be saved for later. People are going to ignore it. They're not going to want to text you. I'm sure you've had this before too, where someone texts you, sends you a wall of text, and especially if it's not urgent, if it's not super important, life or death scenario, you'll look at it and be like, oh, I'll get to it later, I'll respond to them later. And maybe you do, maybe you forget. But my first mentor called this texting like a 14-year-old girl, where you're sending multiple messages. So here's an example from one of my clients, where it's, I have a small audience. We say, perfect, send. What would you say are the 2, 3 things you need help with the most right now in terms of this, right? Keeping it relevant. And so that was all 3 messages and not one wall of text. You make it a fun experience, not just a straight up sale, because you're doing that work for them. So it's easier to consume your messages, it's easier to understand, and it's easier to reply. Notice we gave them, very specific ask of just what are the 2 to 3 things. Second, understand this is a very simple way to understand text tonality, because through text, you don't have your voice, you don't have your body language when you're talking to people. There's a really funny skit from Key and Peele, and you could watch this on your own. I just have a GIF of it, but essentially things can be easily misconstrued through text. People can, have a bad day. They stub their toe. They look at your text. They assume it in an angry tone, or they think you're being passive aggressive, or whatever it is, because you're just sending the words. They're adding the interpretation. So with social lube, with these communications, you don't want to, as Jordan Belfort would say, go off to Pluto. You don't want to turn them into your friend. You do want to maintain control and direct the conversation, but we don't want to be so strict and rigid that we sound like a jerk. And so there's just 3 forms of social lube that I have. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So just giving them a little pat on the butt here of just good job, good job. That's great, love it. You're validating and rewarding what you want to be repeated. Now, there's going to be times, depending on your voice, depending on your offer, where you actually want to dig into the pain and let them know that it's not okay that they're feeling this way. So a lot of the time we would talk to people and they would say, yeah, uh, I've tried to lose fat before, or I've tried running Facebook ads before. I tried an agency, they sucked, I lost my money, it was a terrible experience. And so what they're doing is they're just relying on referrals. And so what I would do there is kind of like let them stew in that a little bit. I'm just like, like ouch, like that's not normal. And it sucks that you had that experience. But even worse, it sucks that the lesson you took from that is never ever to grow with paid ads because you can't trust any agencies. Like that's the intention we want to put forth in that time. But we don't want to throw them a pity party. We just want to show that we're listening and move the conversation forward. There's also going to be times where conversations go off track. And I just keep it neutral. Got it. Copy that. I hear you. But really, with that social lube, that communication, I view it as bricks and cement. So your chat scripts are going to be the main bricks. The social lube just helps keep everything together. We just want people to be heard. The third thing is texting from the balls of the feet. Because remember, we're looking to make sales here. And a lot of the people I see chat closing and implementing these systems, they act more like a customer support person than a salesperson. And I'm not talking about high pressure sales and being crazy in the chats. I'm talking about asking questions, moving the ball forward, um, you know, not not bending over backwards to react to their message, but understanding, interpreting their message, and knowing how to put the ball back in their court to get closer and closer to the sale. So here's a very simple chat template you could use. We get permission first. We sort to find the solution. We find their goal because people love talking about their goals more than their failures. So you'll get a lot better response going with goal first and then gapping them, which I view this as growing their associated pain. So it's something like, oh, okay, how many clients do you want to be working with right now? Like, what have you tried in the past? What do you feel is missing to get those clients? And then if they're good, you can send them their pocket-sized pitch. One note is don't forget to get their email. So my favorite way of doing this is dismissing them with a free gift or a lead magnet in exchange for their email, or getting their email at the start of the chat so you don't lose them. So this is going to be where your lead is 80% closed. Now, what we do is we take that sales structure, that conversation, and put it into a Google Doc, just like this. And so here's the outline. It's all right here. I don't want to go into it too deep, but there are a few mistakes that you need to know. And again, yeah, you can get access to this whole document. Just message me down below, and I'll send that over to you. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to be cute. We only have 3 to 5 pages. It's not a lot of space. So we're looking to be direct and focused. And in copy, they call this the rule of one. So stay very clear on this template, and you should be good to go. Number 2, don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes. And yeah, it's a bit dramatic, but it's that idea of keeping your powder dry, where you don't necessarily want to pitch everyone who hops into the chat. You want to make sure they're pre-framed and pre-suited the best before you go into it. And I have an example of a pocket-sized pitch here. You can go check it out a little bit, but it's just like very, very simple, very basic. And you can kind of see the outline because the goal here isn't to blow them away with your design skills or, write the next great American novel. It's to express all the information they need to make a decision in a focused document instead of trying to communicate back and forth through chat or getting them onto a phone call. And so, yeah, you'll definitely want to check out this pocket size pitch. I actually put it together in like 6.5 minutes with ChatGPT with a fake product. Um, and it's, yeah, we're not looking to win any Pulitzer Prizes, just looking to be clear and build a durable client vending machine because a lot of the heavy lifting, the marketing work has already been done by this point. Just think about it. We waved our flag and we compelled people who trust us enough, who want what we have enough to reach out to us, right? So we're in front of someone who's a pretty good lead. After talking with them, we get a little bit more information. Typically, we find what they want, what they don't want, and where they're at right now. And so with that information, we're able to keep going and just say, cool, if they're a good fit, let's send them the Google Doc. If they're not a good fit, you know, you could dismiss them, you could say goodbye, you could do whatever. Um, and this is going to be a lot more effective. So when you get a bunch of I'm ins, then you're going to need to check close them because you're going to have some objections. A lot of leads may buy right away, but for maybe 30% of leads, you're going to have objections. You're going to go back and forth a little bit. It's a long way away from someone saying I'm in to them putting in their credit card details or wiring you money. So here's a rundown of the four main objections. And I'm going to go quickly through this just because, again, you can check out this doc and go a little bit slower through it. But we have the price objection, and there's swipe here. There's examples. It's going to be price, scam, stalls, such as I need to think about it. And then there's going to be niche specific logistics. And I actually put a framework for people who need to talk to their spouse because I consider that a stall because it's them being a little bit of a victim if we're being honest. The most important thing I want to impress upon you is not to get tilted. People are coming to you with a problem that they haven't been able to solve because they don't have either the skills or the character traits or the beliefs to be able to do that. So, sales is this game of trying to support and empower someone to take the action to change their circumstances and put their money, on the line to do that. In essence, it's a game of us and them that you're fighting for their best interest stronger than the actual lead is. So buyers are not liars. I'm tired of hearing that. They're more like kids. So if a lead acts a fool, don't double down, don't fight them. Instead, step into, we call it the supportive kind of parenting role, where you're objective, you're asking questions, you're supporting what they want, and trying to help them get there. So you want to challenge and hold them accountable. But yeah, understand if everyone was, an expert in what you're doing, they wouldn't really need you, and your business would disappear overnight. Hermosi told me that you can either be right or you could be rich, and that very much applies here. And in the end, leave with kindness. Dismiss people, give them a little gift, get them on your email list, follow up with them. Because again, 4 to 5 times more people buy with follow up. I've seen this again and again and again. There's one story in particular that I loved because this guy bought from Africa. Usually we don't get many buyers from Africa just because of the currency difference. So I looked up his chat and he reached out to us a year before. Couldn't afford our course. He talked with us. He was really polite, really nice. And then in his chat, there was a gap. A year later, he came back ready to buy. He was farming chickens, working odd jobs. He saved up for this course and got inside a year later. So it's remarkable how many people will want to do business with you when you treat them well. And yeah, the last step is making it recur. So I got this from Dean Jackson and strategic coach, which are great guys, Dan Sullivan. 3 steps. You make it up, you make it real, you make it recur. So let's make it recur. Because chat's great, but it can be a pain in the butt to keep up with the Joneses to try and post every single day. And the truth is that you don't have to, because the result we want is a durable client vending machine that gives us consistent leads and predictable revenue, no sales calls, just through chat. And the truth is that after you make about 10 sales, you'll have the data you need to dial in the biggest pieces. So we need to know what posts drive the most qualified leads. We need to know what is missing from the pocket size sales letter, which is really based on the objections that we get, what objections we get the most, and what's missing from the setting script. So those are all very similar, but there's different places to look for that same information. And with this information, you can build a few automations. So it's even easier to run the system, and it cuts out time for your chat agents, cuts out time for the sales call. It just cuts out time for content as well. So here are the two biggest things. First, repeat what works. Repeat what works. We use winning creatives. You can cadence in your winning creatives to go automatically to your audience. So just a few examples of how to do this, right? You can just set up monthly recurring emails with your best creatives. And it could be as simple as a one sentence email. It could be like a spear. And it could either be to chat with you on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever, or it could just be a reply back to the email and you'll chat with them on email. You can also, instead of, or in addition to repeating these emails with your best creatives and sending them out as broadcasts, you can add it into your welcome sequence. You could add it into your post-purchase sequence to upsell someone. You can have a lot of fun with this. And this is what I like to do with my high-end clients, where I'm more of their fractional CRO, and we're looking for more ways on the back end to grow their revenue, grow their profits specifically. Like the email automations are amazing, and you just repeat what works. Here, you can add your best creatives into your Facebook groups. So you can have spears, you can have videos, you can have those creatives in Facebook. You can do this all over social media. The biggest people on social media don't make as much content as you think. They're maybe testing, creating new content about a third of the time. The other third, they're remixing, which means they're taking a winning post. So let's say I made a post recently about like my entrepreneurial journey, and it went viral for me, right? It got the most likes, the most comments over the past 90 days compared to my other posts. So that really resonated. So what I did is, instead of making it a bulleted list, what I did is I talked about, hey, here's how I got into marketing, into entrepreneurship, and then I reversed it. I'm like, oh, so here's what you need to do. Instead of me saying my specific journey of I started my own business, and then I freelanced, and then I did this and worked with Jay Shetty and Jason Capital and all these people, it was, step one, go out, test stuff, find mentors. I feel like I'm reciting the hero's journey, but remixing is going to be really, really strong. The other side of that is you could remix a third of the time, post new stuff a third of the time, and then you could just repost the same things. People's attention spans are super short on social media. So if maybe it's every 30 days, maybe it's every 60 days, maybe it's every 90 days, whatever you feel most comfortable with, you can just make the same posts again and again and again. Of course, you don't want to do this too much, because then you're not doing anything new. There's nothing timely. There's nothing engaging. But as you continue posting, as you continue seeing what topics make sense and what topics don't, you can have 2/3 of your content 90% of the way done. And then you could add in the outbound messaging with your best creatives. So part of that is like what I mentioned earlier, where you're reaching out to new people who follow you and offering them a lead magnet or reaching out to them with a spear. The second side, so in addition to reusing the winning creatives, you could add in more of a CRM. So, yeah. So to be able to handle the chats on your social media platform. I forgot what CRM stands for. I use acronyms too much. The easiest way I've done this is using ManyChat. ManyChat works with Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, WhatsApp. Um, it's just very versatile, and it's a good solution. I've also used MobileMonkey, um, but yeah, a lot easier than manually chatting. You can add in some automations. You can add in some keyword triggers, comment triggers based on how people are coming to you. Um, and so if you're chatting on LinkedIn or another platform and you want to send them off of that, it could be a little bit tricky. But you could also use the native platforms, keep track of everything with Google Sheets. And there are solutions for other social medias. I would say that using ManyChat is probably the most versatile. So if you have audiences on Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, like ManyChat's going to be your best bet. With LinkedIn, we're testing and experimenting with new things. And so that's kind of outside the scope of this video, but I'll add new videos talking about that too in the future. And yeah, comment below too. Let me know if you want to see me build out some of these ManyChat setups and the integrations. Because again, this is a little bit beyond. It's something I set up mainly for my higher volume clients, people doing at least 60 to 100K per month, where the automations make a lot more sense. What you can do as well, kind of tied in with the CRM, is bot your winning scripts. I prefer to only bot the first message of the script just to get that back to everyone faster, start those conversations, and put some pressure on chat closers to have those conversations started and set up for them. Once you go through a few conversations and you have the major kinks worked out, you can actually bot the whole script up to the Google Doc, and have that going 24/7, 365. And yeah, you can replace yourself from chat, hire a VA, and have the system not just 95% dialed in, but pretty much automated until the DSL or the Google Doc. So in terms of the KPIs, here's what we're looking at. We got views to leads, about 1%. Outbounding will get you about 10% more leads. About 60% of the leads will actually be qualified to get the sales letter. The sales letter to payment link, typically about 25%. And then there's another 25% payment link to sales. So these numbers are taken from high volume clients like Jason Capital, Jay Shetty, in a wide market. So these 3 to 5% conversion rates are great for high ticket products. But again, it's based on high lead flow. So and we're talking maybe like 4 to 6,000 leads per week, or even as little as like 100 leads per day. Yeah, 100 leads per day actually changed this number because we've seen conversion rates go up to like 16+%. So yeah, this was an offer. He was getting maybe like 100 to 300 leads per month coming in, and we converted about 16+% of them. And the goal here is just to provide you with a benchmark and share my data, so you can understand how this works out compared to your current methods and everything that you're doing. So here's the next steps. To build a 6-figure phoneless acquisition system, to have your own client vetting machine, we need to get free traffic by waving your flag, qualify leads by panning for gold, close deals with your pocket-sized pitch, explain away concerns with your chat closing, and then make it recur with automations. And you can do this alone, which you gotta dial it in. It takes work. It's not gonna happen overnight. It took me 4 years and over $200,000 per month to test, to build a team, to surround myself with mentors, to try out the best tech, and investing in other products, courses, coaching, whatever it took to really figure this out. Or you can take the easy path and work with me. If you work with me, I'll set this up with you one-on-one. You'll get results much faster and easier than if you try to go through this and set up yourself. I'm not saying you can't do that because I gave you a lot of resources, but I've been doing direct response marketing for the past 9+ years, and I'll be able to look at everything you're doing, your economics, your offer, even your fulfillment, and really add a lot of value throughout the whole process to, you know, see the big picture and optimize for the big picture, making sure we have the right details along the way. So really, if speed matters to you, and the ease and simplicity matters to you, then you'll get the results much faster. Working with me, having me build out everything, and again, it's me building it out, like helping you wave your flag, creating the right lead magnets and content. You'll be able to qualify dozens of your perfect prospects at the same time through chat. I'll create the chat script with you. Um, Working with me isn't some training. It's not a video course. It's you and me on Loom, face to face, building all of this out, and really me extracting your genius, uh, turning it into really powerful marketing assets, and leveraging yourself throughout the whole sales and marketing process. Write your Google Doc with you. You won't need to rely on ChatGPT or wrestle the words yourself. And we'll come up with ways to make the system recur for you so that you'll be able to scale this in a lean, super profitable, fun way with social media and email lists and a virtual assistant. Again, it's not a coaching program, it's not a course, it's not a group thing, it's a one on one engagement. I work with you directly. You got me, I'm your man. And I'll likely be setting up a lot of this for you, working directly with you. We'll be able to talk about your offers, your copy, not in a group setting, me one on one on these calls, and I'll be able to help you out. And yes, it's going to be expensive, but I believe you pay what you get for. You get what you pay for, and I guarantee my results. So clients who work with me have never lost a dime on this because you're the right person. You won't lose any money. We're going to make a lot of money, and I guarantee my results. And I can talk about that with you if you're the right fit. So I've got limited spots for this because I can only build out so many client vending machines at one time. If you'd like my help with this, just send me the message below. Send me a message below with the word chat, and I'll hook you up with the details. And remember, this is really for you if you're a six-figure coach, consultant, creator, expert, agency owner with a proven offer, looking to sell more of. The offers between $1,000 to $15,000. You have an audience with at least 5,000 people, and you want to do all of this in under 30 days without taking any more phone calls, guaranteed. If that's you, reach out. And maybe you have some questions just on a few more of the logistics of how this works. So, can this get my accounts banned? No. So, we've only had accounts banned because of content. We do get rate limited with messages sometimes. The rate limiting does not hurt the account, and that mainly occurs in the case of outbound messaging. So, this relies on inbound leads. The outbound methods that we have are totally safe. We've never had an issue with that. We just pace out those chats. If you're worried about the leads from social media, understand that you're waving your flag to compel the best fit leads to reach out to you. So there are going to be people that are motivated to buy now, that are solution aware, and we have the sending script to persuade them a little bit more, to get them more excited, and also to double check that they're a good fit. If you don't have a budget for the service, this training is totally free. You could again message me and get access to this whole doc, and go through it and build this out yourself. The people who, if you do want to work with me and my team, the most important thing to me is getting you a return. So, like I'm pretty picky with who I work with, so that I can make sure it's a win-win for me and for you. So whether that's a monetary investment, time investment, energy investment, I want to make sure it makes sense for both of us. You know, if you're concerned about time and effort to get started, yeah, again, so you can work with me to shortcut that. If not, that's again totally fine too. You don't have to build a chat vending machine because you're already making some revenue. So a few simple things you can do is getting tighter on your target market, who you serve and how you serve them. That's just gonna dial in your messaging, make it a lot easier for people to say yes. Number two, double down what's working already in your business. So if you're relying a lot on referrals, what can you do to make referrals even easier, even more of an irresistible offer for you? If you're, working organically, maybe you could add in more spears from here. What can you do to double down on what works, and just don't optimize yourself into a box. Uh, if you don't think that chat works for you or your business or your customers, that's not true. Uh, really, in sales, speed is king. So I think about it this way: you can reach people faster with chat than you can get them onto a call typically. Um, and if you reach out to them faster than your competition, you've already won. The other side of this is that we sell human to human. So as long as you're solving problems and improving the life of your clients, like 5,000 years, probably more than that, but these thousand year old principles of human psychology are hardwired into our brains. Um, and it's that psychology that helps us make the sales. So really, if you reach out and it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't make sense, I will let you know. If you're concerned about customer data and information, so I would recommend using chat CRM like ManyChat, MobileMonkey. No one will have access to your direct social accounts. Um, Plus, you'll be able to keep that customer data safe. You only collect the customer data when it goes through your payment processor anyway. So that's going to protect you. This is going to protect your account, and you'll be able to have that little bit of a barrier. If you don't know, social media is right for your business. So a big piece of that is, again, if you're a coach, consultant, expert, creator, agency owner, if you have a presence on social media, then this will work for you. It really just depends on which platform you're going after. So maybe TikTok doesn't make sense, but LinkedIn does. Maybe you have a big email list and you don't really have social media presence, but email is works, and you'll have people emailing back and forth all day, every day, buying from you. So whether you're using these paid or organic strategies, you're most likely already tapping into social media, and so that's how you can keep winning and keep getting things to work here. If you're worried that it's too aggressive in terms of the sales strategy, you can balance your approach in the chat closing section. We use a traffic light system to decide how aggressive the client wanted to have their chat scripts. And so some people, it fit really well that we challenge the lead buys or dies. For some people, we let them off the hook at the first objection because it didn't make sense to push them. So it really depends on what works the best from a conversion database perspective, but it's not one size fits all. And if you're concerned that the service won't be able to keep up with the demand of your business, I say good, test this out. Um, but yeah, we could definitely handle scale. Like that's one thing that we can do. We get pretty big teams, 8+ chat agents for like the biggest highest volume clients. Get up to 2,000 plus leads per post that we do at the high end. So we can handle a lot. If you don't know that the service will be able to generate enough sales to justify the cost, well, I have a guarantee to protect you 100% against that. And second, I like to say that this isn't a one night stand. I'm not looking to do a bunch of one-off projects. I'm looking for businesses that I can partner with and really help scale them from 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures with a longer term engagement, and take these marketing solutions that fit your business, your goals really well like a glove. Um, and so this isn't like a new tactic of the month. It's designed to be something that you could use and repeat and keep going with. And I've had clients staying with me for the past 4+ years, still making sales, still winning with this. And again, if that's you, just look below in the bio. There's a link. You can send me the word chat, and I'll hook you up with all the details. So again, you're a 6-figure expert, consultant, creator, coach with a proven offer you're looking to sell more of. Your offer is between $1,000 to $15,000. You have an audience of 5,000 people, and you want to do this all in 30 days without taking any phone calls, uh, and have that guaranteed. And so, yeah, I'm just taking a few more people on for this. So first come, first served. Otherwise, you're gonna have to sit and wait on the waiting list a little bit. But that's what I got. If you like this, do me a favor and comment below on what you're gonna test out, because I would love to see you get results just from this free training, this free video. And if you have any other questions, you can definitely leave it below in the comments as well. Peace.